and just, I don't know, yeah, but it's fine. A nice little storage area under the cupboard there. And wow! Living room to the right-hand side, and that wallpaper is wacky, wacky, wacky. It's like those old televisions when they went slightly wrong. That does strange things to your eyes, that's for sure. But it's a good-sized front lounge, a bit of storage space under the stairs there, and then through to the rear of the property, little sort of a pathway through there to a sort of utility area and an old larder in there. I mean, that's exactly the sort of thing you get in these old ex-authority houses. All these walls, no stud partitions there. It's all solid brick, and that's really good. And you get space. I mean, look at this. This is the kitchen. It's a real family kitchen, clearly in need of new units and all that kind of stuff, but enough space for a kitchen table there. And, you know, just, yeah, it's good. It's a great start. So far, so good. So upstairs, what delights are in store? Lots of light flooding onto the landing from that little window, which is good. You got your bathroom and loo up here, although the bathroom suite, well, definitely a little bit dated. New suite in there, white, lovely, new, would be absolutely gorgeous. You've got 3 bedrooms, box room there, and then through into the second large bedroom. And again, really well proportioned, in need of, obviously, modernisation, but lots of space to work with, cracks here and there. You know, I don't think there's anything untoward. Yeah, great little house. Now, my love affair with ex-local authority houses might be clouding my thinking process when it comes to the cracks. This area does have a mining history, and come to think of it, maybe we should have another look outside, because it's not what's there that worries me, it's what's not there. When you come out here, you sort of are reminded of something I noticed when I walked up to the property. Originally, this would have been a semi-detached, and yet half the property, the one at the side of it there, has been knocked down at some point. Now, that poses a lot of questions. Why? Being the most obvious one? Is it something ominous? It certainly would be worth trying to find out why the other house was demolished. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, as the work should have been carried out in compliance with the council's building regulation department to make sure that this property is safe and the former party wall, which is now the new external wall, is watertight and properly insulated. The biggest plus is, of course, that we now have a detached house, which can only make it more valuable and attractive to buyers. We've asked along an agent from the auction house who sold it to get his opinion on the house.
First impressions are that the property needs a full renovation, redecoration throughout, and generally upgrading.
And once all the work was complete, what could the house, guided at £80,000, be sold for?
I would expect the property to achieve somewhere in the region of £130,000.
And for the long-term investor, what about the rental market?
Once renovated, the property would achieve on the rental market somewhere in the region of £600 to £625 per calendar month.
Well, it's a good, solid house with lots of space for a relatively low guide price. Yeah, an interesting opportunity. Let's see who fancied it when it went under the hammer.
Guide price on this has been increased. What should I say? 70 to start. Got to be that, I think. Looking for 70 to get it going. 70 bid, thank you. It's £70,000. Looking for 72 now. That's 70,000. Looking for 72. 72, 74, 76. I'll go in once if it helps. Bids at £76,000. 77 at 77. 78 at 78. 79. 80. Half, you're saying 79.5, 80, another half. No, 80,000, my right then, at 80,000. Another 500 anywhere else? If not, £80,000 for the first time, £80,000 for the second time, third and final time, £80,000. Your lot, sir, well done.
The successful bidder who paid bang on the guide price of £80,000 was Martin. Martin is the director of a road marking company and does property development as a hobby. I met up with him to find out what he had planned for this interesting former semi-detached property. Martin, good to meet you.
And you?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me why you wanted to buy this house.
I own some land next to it.
Oh, literally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Garden next door. My intention is to knock this one down and build a block.
Wow.
Block of 4.
Right. Have you got any experience of that in this area?
Yeah, I brought a house on the corner behind us, and I got planning permission to build 3 in the garden there. I brought a ransom strip off of this house so as I could put the gardens in.
Just in case anyone doesn't know, what is a ransom strip?
Basically, I needed that piece of land to get planning so as I could, because I had to move the houses back off the road so they got off-road parking.
Right.
So now my intention is to just build this block here, similar to what I've done there.
And it's called a ransom strip because intrinsically it wasn't worth as much as you had to pay for it.
That's right, yeah.
Worth much more to you rather than its intrinsic value.
It keeps a nice little parcel of rentable properties together then, because I'll have 8 in the same block, if you like.
Right, and you'll keep them all and just rent them all out?
Yeah, that's my intention.
And how did you settle on this little area?
It was a family friend that was living in the first house, and she was looking to move on. Thought that there was a possibility of getting planning in the garden. I brought it from her. She stayed there for another 2 years whilst I was trying to get planning, and then she moved on, and it just by luck, really.
Martin is clearly a patient man. He's been buying houses and bits of land here since 2008. He's had his eye on this house for 3 years. Meanwhile, with the other parcel of land, he's spent 2 years negotiating with the planning department to be allowed to build 3 properties there. Now, of course, he'll have to do it all over again for this part of the development, because he wants to build 4 3-bed houses on this and next door's plots. So you own the bit of land at the side. Now, what do you know about what's happened here? Because it's obviously quite interesting that this was probably a semi-detached at one point, was it?
Yeah, I believe that going back, I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but there was a fault that ran through from the mining era. I believe there was like a drift run all the way through. So this was knocked down. And had a couple more in the local area.
In case you're wondering what was meant by drift, that's a mining term for a near-horizontal passageway following the coal. So it suggests that the ground could, of course, be subject to movement. A mining report is a must, I reckon. Most people would probably hear that and run a mile, as opposed to thinking, I'll buy more properties right there on top of this drift.
Yeah, I think nowadays with our foundations that come on, it's just a matter of putting a ring beam foundation down.
What's that?
Not really a floating raft, but the ring beam around it, it has metal work in it, so it holds it all together.
Have you made noises with the planners over that?
No, not yet. I don't actually believe that it's going to be too much of an issue to get planning here.
Why?
Because there was a property there before, and also there's a property here now.
Martin does sound confident. He also thinks, although he wants to build 4 houses here, the local need and demand for housing would go in his favour too. Just as ever, he's got to be patient.
Probably take 4 or 5 months to get planning. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there won't be too many issues with that. And then another 6 to 8 months to get them built.
So what's the construction costs for this?
Well, I paid $80,000 for the house, but on the night of the sale, there was on the addendum there was a covenant that only 1 property could be built here if it was knocked down.
Oh, right.
Which seemed a bit strange. So I paid $80,000 for the plot. I then had the £17,000 to get the covenant lifted. So
£17,000 extra to enable you to do what you wanted to do.
Yeah, the plot, if you like, once I knock this down, is going to stand me at £110,000.
Okay.
And I'm anticipating putting the block of 4 up for £200,000 because it's just a straight through
50 each
unit. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking at they're going to be about £75,000-80,000, and they should be the value is about 110,000.
So, all good on this? What's your biggest concern? Any major potential hiccups?
Planning, possibly, but I'm fairly confident that it won't be too much of an issue.
Right. And then plans for any more, or will that be it?
You never know. Keep your eyes open for different opportunities.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, lovely to meet you.
And you.
Good luck with it. There you go, that's a turn up for the books, isn't it? The house will probably be knocked down to make room for 4 new ones. Obviously, lots of hurdles to jump over before that actually happens, but it just shows thinking outside the box sometimes delivers some very interesting opportunities. How will it all turn out? You can find out later in the show.
Dudley in the West Midlands was originally a market town and one of the birthplaces of the Industrial Revolution. However, Dudley has reinvented itself as a tourist destination with fantastic attractions like the Black Country Living Museum, Dudley Castle and Dudley Zoo. So will the property I'm here to see in nearby Netherton have people flocking to buy it? So just 3 miles outside the centre of Dudley is the lot I'm here to see. Now, it's something just a little bit different today for Homes Under the Hammer. It's former police offices. Semi-detached building, over 2 floors, with a guide price of £80,000 to £90,000. The address, 999 Lesby Avenue. Not really. Now stand by, there's going to be a lot of police puns in the next few sentences. Apologies. Not bad. We're in through the back door, straight into the kitchen, and it's a big kitchen. It's a good-sized kitchen. The kitchen cupboards look OK, work OK. Surfaces look fine as well. You'd definitely be able to keep this. You'll have to obviously repaint and retile, put some flooring down, but not bad. There's the stairs up to the first floor, and we are into this large dual aspect, what I see as a nice big lounge dining area, but you've got signs of office everywhere. You've got the sockets there, you've got the office lights, and all the cables are in trunking, but it really does lend itself to put double doors just off the dining room out into the back garden. Let's check out the rest of this place. The trunking and network cable installation would no doubt be a huge attraction to someone interested in computer games, but if left in, I think it would restrict the market appeal. In fact, it's not only the aesthetics here that need de-officing. You might need a change of use converting this back into residential premises, so check with the local planners first. OK, onto the first floor. And what have we got then? We've got a toilet there and another toilet by the side. And this is why. One for the ladies and one for the gents. Knock that wall down, make a nice big family bathroom. You've got loads of space to do that there. And your 3 bedrooms, you've got one at the front of the property, a real good-sized bedroom there, more of a box bedroom at the end. And in here, we've got a shower. So if you've got the family bathroom already, you don't really need that. So you could easily, there you go, you could easily knock down that wall and you'd have 3 good-sized bedrooms, family bathroom, job done. A floor-level vent suggests to me that this place was heated by a duct-warm system, which were common back in the 70s. But I'm guessing it's not in good nick, judging by the amount of radiators scattered about. So the central heating system is on the to-do list. And the next thing on the to-do list might be to get a mower out. As you can see, it is a little bit overgrown out the back here, but there is loads of space and it wouldn't take long, I think possibly a weekend, to get this sorted into a really nice family back garden. You've got all that space in there, all that space out here, and it's a bit of a sun trap as well. What more could you ask for? Well, how about an agent from the auction house that sold the property to give us his valuations and opinions?
I think the property would appeal to a family to move into, or for an investor to do it up and rent it out to another family, but I think ultimately it's a family home.
So once refurbished as a family home with central heating, what would it be worth?
Once refurbished, I'd expect the property to achieve a sales figure of 125 to 130,000. As a rental, I'd expect it to achieve £550 to £600 per calendar month.
So there were loads of obvious signs of this building's past as a police office. Now, if you look beyond that, I can see loads of potential for this place to be a really nice family home. Let's see who spotted that potential when he went under the hammer. Unfortunately, we didn't capture the bidding for this lot, but the semi sold for 86 grand to Angela. She works as a chemical engineer in the oil and gas industry. And she's travelled from her home in Woking to meet me back at her new purchase. Angela, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a former police office.
Yes.
It's not in bad nick.
No.
Did you get it for a steal?
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I apologise, I had to get them out there. OK, joking aside, how did you find this and why did you like it?
It was on a list of potentials, quite a long list.
OK.
And it was at the bottom.
Really?
It was because I didn't actually get to see the inside. I came up for a couple of days and...
Are you glossing over something? Did you view the property?
I viewed the outside, just not the inside. The rest of the properties, I had a 5-page checklist that I went through to do them all, but then couldn't get in to see this one. I mean, it ticked the boxes for price and the type of work I'd have to do and things like that. Yeah.
So how are you going to manage it then? You're down south and this is up north?
Come up and stay a couple of nights at a time, you know, get the inflatable bed out.
Well, there's a lot of rooms in here.
Yeah, there's plenty of room and there's plenty of toilets, so it's fine.
So is it something that you're going to get involved in, you know, if you're going to come and stay?
I was planning to do a lot of the work myself, but I now might have to go back to work. If I'm not working, then I'll do quite a lot of the work. I'll do plumbing and tiling and painting, that sort of thing.
Oh, so you'll actually get your hands dirty, get stuck in?
Yeah, definitely.
OK, so why did you get into the property work then?
Well, I had a flat that I had rented out and it needed doing up, so I renovated and quite enjoyed it. Work was a bit slow, so I thought I needed something else to do.
And you found this one?
Yeah.
Right, it's yours.
It is.
What are you going to do with
it? Turn it back into a nice family home, hopefully.
A lot of commercial feel, isn't there? There's a lot of sort of office feel about it, so
we're
how are you
just
going
going
to
to
get rid of it?
strip it all back, probably just skim all the walls, repaint, recarpet, put some central heating in, new windows everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and knock a few walls through to make the bathrooms into family bathrooms again.
OK, so down here, tell us what let's start down here then. What
Down
do you
here,
do down here?
possibly knock through from the kitchen into the dining area.
Yes.
I haven't quite decided on that one yet.
It's a decent-sized kitchen, isn't it?
It's a good-sized kitchen. It doesn't need it, and I'm not sure I want any extra building work if I don't have to. So I'm in two minds about that.
Now, we do encourage open-plan living here on the show, but you do have to bear in mind the downsides. Cooking smells, not to mention the noise from the washing machine, dishwashers, and the clattering of the dishes. And noisy kids, of course, if you've got any, and that can disturb the Sunday afternoon footy. So how many bedrooms would you like when it's all completed?
Right, well, we'll have 3 upstairs, and then this extension can be potentially a 4th bedroom. It would be fine if you had a teenager or elderly parents, and they could have their own nice room with an ensuite and separate access if required as well. So it would make quite a good addition.
Flexible family space that allows teenagers to make as much noise or mess separately can be a good thing. It certainly warrants thinking about. And there's more where that came from. So what's, I'd normally say budget, but what's the bill going to be?
I'm hoping...
You can laugh if you want. Sorry, carry on.
I'm hoping to do it for about 15,000. I mean, with all the windows needing replacing and central heating going in, it might go a bit above that.
Where do you think the majority of that will go?
The bulk is going to be on the windows and the central heating, and obviously flooring is going to be a fair dent in that as well, but, I mean, I can do all the painting myself and tiling and things like that, and my friend is going to do the bulk of the ripping everything out and building some stud walls and things.
Good man. Well, the windows will cost you a few quid because they're not only a lot of them, they're big as well.
There's lots of big windows. I mean, it's lovely. The place is lovely, light and airy. I love the big window on the landing, but
Yes.
it's a bit pointless apart from letting being that big. But yeah, so I'll have to get a few quotes in and hope somebody comes up trumps on that.
Angela is hoping to get this place licked into shape in 3 to 4 months, depending on how often she can be there. Her plan is to sell on. She's already got a price in her head based on thorough and extensive research. Good girl.
One next door is for sale.
That's quite handy, isn't it? Is it the same sort of size?
It's the other half of the semi.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's got a slightly different extension on it,
Okay.
but it's pretty comparable.
Yeah, what kind of spec are you going for? Middle, top, bottom?
Middle, really.
Okay.
I don't think the area warrants a top spec, but people like a nice-looking kitchen, and you can spend a bit of money on nice taps and things to make it look better.
In general, when you go to a house, the kitchen's the one you look for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice, clean bathrooms, clean lines.
Well, kitchens are expensive, so people don't want to have to change them. So if you can get a kitchen that most people will like, it doesn't have to be brilliant, it just has to be good quality. So.
And will you be going back to the auction rooms very soon?
Oh, as soon as this one goes, I think I'll be back in there.
Really, straight
As long
in?
as I don't make a loss, yeah.
You want to see how this one goes?
Yeah, I'll see how this one goes, but I'll be keeping an eye out for anything suitable in the meantime.
So will you be looking up in the Midlands again for more properties?
Hopefully next time I'll find somewhere a bit closer to home.
Yes, that would help.
This is about the closest I could get on my budget.
Well, Angela, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you, and I hope it all works out.
Thank you very much, thanks.
So Angela didn't view the property, but I think she's got out of jail here. After 3 to 4 months hard labour, will this place still be an arrested development? I'm so sorry, there's so many puns. Come back later in the show and you can find out how she gets on. I'm going back inside.
Still to come, Lucy's through with this layout in Berkhamsted.
Here and through here is the bathroom and the toilet.
And we'll find out if Angela gets off with good homes under the hammer behaviour.
All in all, I'm happy enough with the budget.
It was just north of Newcastle-under-Lyme in Staffordshire, in the village of Chesterton, where we first saw a 3-bed property that brought new meaning to the term detached house. Of something I noticed when I walked up to the property, that originally this would have been a semi-detached, and yet half the property, the one at the side of it there, has been knocked down at some point. Now, that poses a lot of questions. Why? Being the most obvious one? Is it something ominous?
But that's just the half of it. You saw the half of it.
And it turned out there was a slightly ominous reason that one half of this, which would have been a semi, had been detached and flattened. It was due to the unstable ground from mining in the area, which is something that would concern most people. But it didn't bother property hobbyist Martin, who snapped it up for 80,000 quid as part of a development project he had planned. But that wasn't the whole story.
And that's just the half of it.
I own some land next to it.
Oh, literally?
Yeah.
Next to it. OK.
Next door. My intention is to knock this one down and build a block.
Wow.
Block of 4.
Have you got any experience of that in this area?
Yeah, I brought a house on the corner behind us, and I got planning permission to build 3 in the garden there.
So this house, or more importantly the land it was on, was the final piece in Martin's jigsaw to enable his block of 4 new homes to be built. And he was confident with modern foundation methods that the ground wouldn't be an issue. But he did have to sink some more money into the project to get it off the ground.
There was a covenant that only one property could be built here if it was knocked down.
All right.
£17,000 to get the covenant lifted. So...
£17,000 extra?
Yeah.
To enable you to do what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
That was a bit of a downer. It meant getting this potential plot had cost £97,000, and he still had demolition and services to sort out for the 4 houses he had planned, even before he added in the build costs. He hoped to bring the houses in for a total of £300,000, and he thought he could have them complete in a year. So, providing planning was granted for the old house, well...
Your time is up.
And now, 18 months later, we're back. So, did it all go to plan? Well, would you look at that? What did he end up building?
We were able to fit 4 3-bedroom properties.
All 4 houses are identical on the outside, as is the layout on the inside.
Come in, you've got a small hallway. You've then got a downstairs toilet and cloakroom. You then come into the lounge. From the lounge into a kitchen, like a little kitchenette diner. Go upstairs, you've got 3 bedrooms and bathroom and shower.
Well, it all looks very smart on the surface, but what about below the ground?
When we got the mining report, the actual fault was 600 metres down. So quite surprising that all those years ago it had come to the surface, but it basically runs all the way through from here up the road. There's a number of houses that have been knocked down over the years where the fault runs through.
Oh, sounds a bit scary, doesn't it? But these houses were built with ring beam foundations, so they'll be able to withstand any ground movement. So Martin's confident these houses aren't going anywhere soon.
I had a project manager that works for me that came in and basically oversaw the project. I was then just coming and going, keeping my eye on it and making sure everything was going to how I wanted it to.
Martin is the managing director of a road marking company, but having overseen the build of 3 other properties just over the fence from here, he's quite an experienced developer by now. He reckons he spent $120,000 buying the house, paying the covenant and the demolition costs.
The build itself has come in at about $300,000, so the 4 houses stand me at $420,000.
$420,000 means, if I've got my maths right, it cost Martin £105,000 per house. But what do 2 local experts think? Are these the right types of property for the local market? First of all, let's ask the agent who saw the lot last time.
Since coming back to the property, very appealing as soon as you approach the properties. Very good decision as well, obviously, on this occasion to demolish the original building, and obviously a fantastic job with the 4 new properties here.
It's a brand new build, and it all works really well. I like the layout, and it's been finished to a very high standard.
Martin wants to keep these properties and in fact already has tenants lined up for all 4 houses. But with each house costing him £105,000, were they a good investment? Well, the agents valued each house at between 120 and 130 grand, so a potential profit minus taxes and fees of between 60 to 100,000 pounds for all 4 houses. A good result. But a rental vehicle is how Martin currently sees the properties.
We would look to place the properties on the market for somewhere in the region of £575 per calendar month.
I would recommend a rental figure in the region of £580 per calendar month.
So the rent that I'm looking for is $775, but that includes all your bills. I think if it was on the open market to sell without the bills, then yeah, $575 is about right.
£575 per calendar month will represent a yield of 6%. But what's next on Martin's agenda?
I'm 50 this year, so my intention is to go away somewhere different every month of the year. I've done Cambodia, Vietnam, Bali, Singapore, Oman, Switzerland, Spain and Italy. And I'm off to Italy again beginning of the month.
Nestled in the Chiltern Hills, Berkhamsted may be typical green and pleasant land. But it has another green claim to fame. World-renowned author Graham Greene was born in the historic market town in 1904 and lived here until he went to study at Balliol College in Oxford. So will the property Lucy is here to see be something to write home about?
Well, I'm here to see quite a substantial end of terrace. It's situated in the centre of the town. Now, it's here. Wow, look at this. Quite an impressive Victorian building with some absolutely beautiful, intricate brickwork on the outside, which I love. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, I know there's 4 bedrooms inside, and the guide price was £375,000 plus. Yes, please. It's gorgeous on the outside. It's so much better than I was expecting on the inside. Now, with these Victorian houses, you usually get very narrow entrance halls, but look how wide this one is. Absolutely fabulous. You've got a lovely reception room here with high ceilings, with cornicing, marble fireplace there. You've got this beautiful curve on the wall here, cornicing, coving, lovely, lovely stairs. Wow, the features are endless in this house. It's just fantastic. Second reception room. Now you can see you are going to need to take this back to the bare brick. Everything needs doing. But if you like your panelled doors and your high ceilings and your traditional sashed windows, this house has got the lot. I mean, look at this for a fireplace. That's gorgeous. Gas fire, well, that's the source of heat in this house, so you're going to really need to think about installing the central heating, obviously. And bit of a disappointing kitchen. You've got to go down a few steps there. It's rather small, it's dark. You've got a big larder at the back, so the whole place is going to need a rejig. It's absolutely fantastic, and for somebody that would love to take on a house like this, well, it'll be ideal. But let's hope whoever buys this has got a healthy bank balance, because you really are going to need to spend a lot of money.
I couldn't love you any better. I love you just the way you are.
Let's hope whoever buys this loves it just the way it is and lovingly restores it back to its former glory instead of ripping out all these fantastic original features.
So upstairs, more of what you saw. Downstairs, lovely wide hallways, nice high ceilings, and you've got 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. Not a bad size. This one is okay, but this is where it gets really interesting. Okay, so bedroom 3, bedroom 4, follow me. Here and through here is the bathroom and the toilet. So you've got to go through this room to get to the bathroom. And not only that, you've got to go through this room as well. So 2 rooms to get to the bathroom. So you can see, you need to think about planning this house. You need to sit down with a piece of paper and work out what to do. It might be an extension, it might be knocking some walls down, but it just doesn't work how it's currently laid out.
If you wanted to stay with the same footprint, could you block up these connecting doors and create new ones off the hallway somehow? Tricky. But outside you can see that you could possibly create more space without impinging on the small garden too much. And you could also think about off-street parking here, which remedies the issue of that busy road out front. There is always a but, and the but is, in this case, it is a conservation area, which could curtail those plans. To find out how these ideas might be received by the council, we asked a local estate agent along to fill us in.
In our experience, the planners are very positive about renovations as long as they're done sensitively and in keeping with the area. They're not going to want to see ripping windows out and putting UPVC in, that type of thing, clearly. But things like the extension, I think as long as it's done sensitively, they're going to have, I think, a reasonably sympathetic ear to the plight of who's going to live here. Clearly, the internal layout doesn't really work for today's modern family, how it is anyway.
So extending into that infill area is a possibility, but that could mean a lot of investment even if you got it for around the £375,000 guide price. So what could it be worth once renovated?
Assuming the highest quality finish, I would say, as long as the property is done in that way but not extended, I'd estimate the value to be around 700,000 when it's finished. If the owner is able to get an extension onto the property, sorts the problems out upstairs, perhaps gets some parking into the back as well, then I think the value then suddenly leaps up to a late 700,000s, perhaps sort of 775, even as much as 800 potentially.
Well, this really is such a lovely, big, old, gorgeous Victorian property. I love it. There are a few layout issues, however, especially with regards to the bathroom access through 2 bedrooms. But with a bit of work and some rejigging, this really could be such a fantastic family home. Let's see who snapped this one up at auction.
Cracking building, fantastic building, rarely available. Over to you. Where do you want to start? 500? 500 anywhere? Well, I'll try to help. We'll start 380 then. 380 anywhere? 380. 385. 385. 390.
The bidders were playing it cool to start, but this lot had plenty of interest. We rejoined the auctioneer looking for 546,000.
546, 547, 548, 547 with you, sir. 548 elsewhere. 547 sitting down. It's going. First time, second time, third and last time. Well done, 547. You got there. Congratulations.
Seeing off the competition and buying a character property for £547,000 was charity boss Ramon and his wife Carly, who works in a local interior design shop. Both of them have restored period properties before, but this is the first time they've taken one on as developers. Lucy met up with them to find out more.
Carly and Ramon, congratulations. What a fantastic house.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brimming with character features, which I love, and a lovely little high street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We're
It's
very
a beautiful
lucky.
house.
So who spotted it? Who wanted it?
I think we sort of knew of it for the last 20-odd years, and then a friend of ours came into the shop and said, did you know it's got an auction stand? So we thought, right. And then we just went up to the auctions and I thought, this is never going to happen. And it did.
So what is it that you like so much about the house?
Well, I think it's the age of it. It's got beautiful brickwork out the front. It's in a great place. And it's also taking something that's been really neglected and sort of putting some love and style back into it and making it a family home for somebody.
We've done several properties before, and I think period properties in particular, we love all the features, and this is unique because it still has all the old fireplaces, you know, the wooden floorboards. It's got all the lovely staircase and everything else with it. So it's quite a find.
So, Ramon, have you always developed houses in this area?
Well, we had several properties very, very close to here, and for the most peculiar reason, they've always been corner properties. I don't know, so this is another corner property, so we're quite familiar with the area and I suppose passionate about giving it some life back.
Yeah, yeah.
Down on the corner, out in the street, with the boat for the plan, bringing nickels, happy feet.
Ramon and Carly have certainly cornered the market on the period property front, and while they have clearly fallen in love with the house, it still is a business venture, and they plan to sell the property once renovated.
And this way would be the large glass.
The first plan of action really is to go to the planners, talk to Highways to get the curb dropped and hopefully put a drive in at the very bottom. The rooms upstairs where, yes, you're not just going through one bedroom, you're going through 2 bedrooms to get to the bathroom.
A through.
Again, subject to the planners allowing us to do it, we'll intend to go up at the top of this stairwell on the side and create another hallway so you can actually access those off the hallway. And again, the other potential it has got is to go up into the loft as well and create another bedroom with a little bathroom in there, ensuite in there.
Ramon will be doing general building work and project managing their usual team of builders, while Carly, as you'd expect, will be using her interior design knowledge. With a budget of £120,000 and a timescale of a year, the couple hope it will be ready to sell. But
Do you have a plan B in case you don't get the permissions you need?
Ooh.
What
No.
if you don't get permission to do the things you want to do here?
As it stands, I mean, if you didn't get the permission, you could still refurbish it and make it into a lovely family home. And if you look at a couple of the properties that are adjoining it, which are very similar, some have extended, some have just refurbished them, and they have sold in the past. So, I mean, simply, if we could put a drive in and if we just refurbished it, because costs are coming in, and if I waited a year, it's gone up anyway, so we would still make some money out of it. So it wouldn't be, you know, a disaster.
So you're still very confident?
Yes.
Yeah, I think sort of, yeah, I have a good feeling about it, that it will be good.
Well, guys, I am so excited to see the outcome.
Thank you.
And I think this house is going to look beautiful. Good
Yeah,
luck.
it will.
And yeah, I hope it all goes really well for you both. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is yet another corner house for Carly and Ramon. But it's going to be a very big project for them. They've got big plans for this place, including a 2-storey rear extension and a loft conversion. But will they get the planning permission they need? And will they be able to resist getting carried away and spending too much of their budget? Find out how the couple get on with this wonderful house later on in the programme.
Well, earlier we saw how one of our properties had turned out, but what about the other two?
Yes, all sorts of problems can crop up. One of our buyers on today's show had to deal with. Why don't we find out? Earlier in the show, I was in Netherton in the Black Country, where I saw a former police office guided at 80 to 90 grand. The address, 999 Lettsby Avenue. Not really. Yes, it was the end of the line for the police office and the beginning of the puns.
Call the police, police, police. All ice heart is about to quit.
The 2 floors were in a criminally bad state, and my investigation suggested it was an inside job. Apart from outside, which was about introducing law and order. Keen on developing this into a family home, but less keen on my police puns was chemical engineer Angela. The long arm of the law reached all the way to her home in Woking, and she nicked the property at auction for £86,000. So how are you going to manage it then if you're down there and this is up north?
Come up and stay a couple of nights at a time, you know, get the inflatable bed out.
As comfy as a night in the cells for Angela, of more comfort was her realistic 15 grand budget and 3 to 4 month timescale. We're back a year later. Has Angela followed her convictions and made this into a house? Well, this really is now a brilliant family home. Angela has knocked through the upstairs toilets to create a family bathroom. The 3 bedrooms have been completely redecorated, and downstairs she's added a shower room to the extension area. This means it could be a 4th bedroom and ideal for mobility access. She's kept most of the kitchen but jazzed it up with some new glossy units. And the real clever bit is how she's used law to convert this former office.
The house was originally built as a residential house for the police. It was used as an office, so we had to get change of use to residential. Turned out that it came under permitted development, so the council agreed that we could just change over without having to get any planning permission.
Getting a change of use may have happened speedily, but some things didn't. It's been 4 months' worth of work for Angela, as she estimated, but it's been stretched over a year as she's had to be at home in Woking due to her job. But she's done a lot of the work herself.
So my main job as an engineer, I do design work, did lots of drawings and plans for this, and it's just really nice to see it all finished and all the plans come to fruition. I did quite a bit of the work initially. I did a lot of the tiling, because I like tiling. Fitted a lot of the kitchen as well. Then we really started to run out of time, so I got a carpenter in to finish off some bits and the doors, and a decorator to come in and do the rest. Grew up doing quite a lot of DIY with my dad. He's very handy. We did a lot of projects together when I was growing up, and so I learnt quite a few skills. And then thankfully at the end, when we needed to finish off, he came down and helped finish it all off and lasted through the rest of the work.
And with that race to finish, her budget doubled from 15 to 30 grand.
I'd initially thought that we could keep the existing air heating system, but it was very old and the boiler for it was really old, so we decided to just replace it. We had to plaster a few more of the rooms than we were expecting, so that was increased, a bit more electrics was increased, and then of course I had a lot more labour costs because I wasn't here to do more of the work myself. So all in all, I'm happy enough with the budget.
Those labour costs included getting trades in, like replacing that heating system, taking out the old fire alarm and sprinkler system, replacing the windows and doors, replastering and some decorating. Was it all worth it?
I really like it and have had ideas of moving in, but it's too far away from work, so it'll still be sold now.
But will Angela be happy with the values? Can she make a profit even with that overspend? We called in 2 property experts to give us their valuations and their thoughts.
I think the owner of this has done a first-class job on it. It's clean, it's tidy, it's got neutral colours, it's got a very spacious upstairs bathroom, which is quite nice, and the addition of the ensuite downstairs, I think, makes it a good family home.
There's quite a few selling points with this property. The first being that it's obviously 3 good-sized bedrooms. It's completely refurbished, so nobody's got to do any work to it, which buyers are going to like. They can just move straight in. And it having that extra room downstairs and the ensuite downstairs gives it real flexibility, maybe for a larger family, somebody with an elderly member that's living with them, or even the potential to use it as a separate living accommodation.
Angela has spent £116,000 buying and converting the police office. What could she expect in terms of sales and rental?
The rental figure for me on the market would be £695 per calendar month. If I was to put this property on the open market, I'd expect it to achieve in the region of £150,000.
I'd expect this property to achieve somewhere in the region of £700 to £750 per calendar month. And on the resale market, I'd expect it to achieve somewhere between £140,000 and £145,000.
Really pleased with the valuations. For my first project, I think it's a good profit margin, especially as it's been a part-time job for me, really, rather than full-time. So, yeah, I'm pleased.
At those top figures, Angela could achieve a £34,000 pre-tax profit or a rental yield of just over 7.5%. It took a while and a lot of hard work to convert this police office, so surely Angela won't be resisting arrest now she's finished. And that's it for the police puns. Promise.
It's been fun, but I'm really looking forward to a few months off before I start my next project. So now that I've got my weekends back, I'll be riding my horses a lot more, and a couple of weddings to go to, and enjoying the weekends again for a while.
Earlier in the programme, Lucy was in the pretty market town of Berkhamsted in Hertfordshire, and the property she saw was just as charming as the town itself. Guided at £375,000 plus, this 4-bed Victorian terrace had more than a few of Lucy's favourite things.
You've got this beautiful curve on the wall here, cornicing, coving, lovely, lovely stairs. Wow.
And although the 2 reception rooms were the sound of music to Lucy's ears, well, the tatty kitchen needed to be brought back to life. But that was nothing compared to the bamboozling layout upstairs.
So bedroom 3, bedroom 4, follow me. Here and through here is the bathroom and the toilet.
Fortunately, the garden offered a few solutions, which new owners Ramon and Carly, who bought the property for £547,000, were well aware of.
The The first plan of action really is to go to the planners, talk to Highways to get the curb dropped and hopefully put a drive in at the very bottom. The rooms upstairs where, yes, you're not just going through one bedroom, you're going through 2 bedrooms to get to the bathroom.
A through.
Again, subject to the planners allowing us to do it, we'll intend to go up at the top of this stairwell on the side and create another hallway so you can actually access those off the hallway.
The £120,000 budget sounded healthy enough, but in a conservation area you can never guess what you might have to contend with. This experienced pair planned to restore this pretty period property in a year. Well, we're back over 2.5 years later.
Almost there, we're almost there. How wonderful, wonderful our love will be for you, for me.
Ramon and Carly aren't quite there yet, but there have been some pretty major changes. The ground floor extension houses the new kitchen, while the modern first floor addition houses the landing for access to what is now a bedroom. The through room is now an ensuite for the master bedroom, whilst they've lost the small bedroom at the front in favour of a master bathroom. But what they've lost in the first floor, they've gained in the way of a fabulous new loft extension with its own bathroom. Everything is beginning to take shape, but thanks to planning and that conservation status, it's been a long haul from a pre-planning meeting, submitting plans and resubmitting plans.
Planning was a slight challenge, and so it was 5 attempts later of redrawing the plans from traditional build to modern, half traditional. But after said 5 attempts, we finally got there.
All that toing and froing with planning cost them a year and a half, but fortunately in the end Ramon and Carly were able to get everything on their wish list in one form or another, including getting planning permission for off-street parking. Mind you, they've not exactly been hanging around in the meantime. Ramon, Carly and their dream team of builders have completed 2 other properties since we last saw them, not to mention carefully restoring the period features in this house.
We've obviously tried to leave all the fireplaces in, and the railings outside, they're actually on order at the moment. They will be rebuilt as they were. The only other real feature, there was a beautiful old cupboard upstairs, a built-in cupboard, and we've taken, if you like, the front of that, and that will be rebuilt in the outer hallway and become a coat cupboard and storage cupboard. But other than that, obviously, everything else that is in here, if you want the coving and so on, everything's been restored to how it used to be.
This property was always going to be a labour of love for the pair, but such attention to detail and massive delays don't come cheap. So where do they stand on the £120,000 budget?
So far we spent about 120,000 and we'll have another 30 to 50 approximately to spend still.
Carly and Ramon bought the house for £547,000. Assuming Ramon's top prediction on renovation costs of 170 grand takes their total spend to 717,000. So could there be any profit to be made? We asked 2 local estate agents what they thought of the renovation, starting with the agent who saw it first.
I love what they've done to it so far. It's early days, so the finish is yet to really be determined. Some of the kitchen, things like that, haven't obviously been finished yet. But certainly what I'm seeing at the moment, they've got it absolutely on the money.
Very impressed with the size and how bright the property is. It's quite a balanced property, considering you've done a loft conversion. There's a really good flow to the property. Yeah, it's lovely.
Whilst it's tricky to value an unfinished property, both agents agreed on around £900,000. However, Carly and Ramon don't plan to realise the potential pre-tax profit of £183,000. They've decided to hold on to it for now. So what could it rent for?
The demand for properties like this in Berkhamsted on the rental market is very good, and I'd suggest that the achievable rental value is somewhere between £2,500 and £2,800 per calendar month.
This property would be closer to somewhere between £2,500 to £3,000 per calendar month.
Probably a little bit on the low side. We have quite a small cottage not far from here, and that's a 3-bedroom, quite a small cottage, and that's renting for £1,650. So this is a much more substantial house. I also know of another property which is very similar to that, and that's well in excess of that. So again,